Hi, my name is Zachary James, and I wrote Reflexio before Alma's Watch. So Alma's Watch is about these two idiot assassins. They think they're really good at their job. They also think they're kind of like Robin Hood, but the thing is, they're not that good at their job. And while they do help the poor out a lot, they're kind of, like I said, they just don't know how to shut up. They're idiots, and so what they just keep. They basically their whole livelihood is we go to a noble, we kill a noble, and then we give the money that we earn back to the people of whatever city we were helping. But there's a capital city called Intis, and so on their way through the countryside, they decide that they're going to take out all 7 of the corrupt advisors to the newly appointed king. Because the newly appointed king isn't so bad of a guy, but his father's former advisors are pretty corrupt. And so they're planning on trying to kill all of them so that way the kingdom can be normal again. So the short story was originally a Kickstarter reward for the highest tier backers in my Kickstarter. It was a little something to add to the world and also to give a little bit more insight into the character of Livens, who is the main character of Alma's Watch. Inspiration is basically, the setting of Alma's Watch is basically the 2 main assassins going to each individual house, the 7 nobles, and killing each of them. And as they do so, each represents a different one of the 7 deadly sins. And so in the short story, it's kind of like a small version of that. We get introduced to the character of Verum, who is one of my favorite characters I've ever written. A very hard-boiled female informant who knows a little bit more about the advisors than the assassins themselves. And she's supposed to represent truth in this short story, while the main villain, Mendacium, is supposed to represent falsehood. And so it's not only is it a hilarious slapstick tale of Livens and Rubius trying to take out this really arrogant noble, but it's also about them understanding the difference between truth and falsehood. It's it's more subtle than what I just explained, but it's there. One of the main characters in the short story you never find out his name, and he's only called Barkeep or the Barkeeper throughout the story, and that's part of that's a running joke in the story, is that everyone calls him Barkeep and no one actually knows his real name, which is actually a reference to the commonly used trope that you can read about on tvtropes.org, which is one of my favorite sites to go to as a writer. So the universe, I call it the universe of Intis, which is the name of the city-state. What I really like about it is, it's a good question actually. What I really like about Intis is that the whole thing allows for there to be a deeper layer of meaning. The whole reason I wrote Alma's Watch in the first place was to offer something for audiences of both commercial audiences and literary audiences, because if you pay really close attention, the entire city, everything involving around it is a larger allegory for how someone can become a better person, how someone can become a happier person. And that's something that Livens doesn't believe exists. He does not believe happy people exist. He does not believe good people exist. But he wants to believe that they exist, so when he has the opportunity to really think about his life before he goes and risks his own life, killing a bunch of advisors, he basically changes and becomes the person he wants to be. But of course he has to go through a lot, and a lot of that characterization at the end is up to you. You can kind of decide for yourself what Livens decided to do with the rest of his life. And I just like how the world's able to be built upon that principle and upon that aspect. The opportunity I have to be published alongside these other amazing and wonderfully talented authors it's kind of a dream come true for me. I think I've always wanted to be in an anthology, maybe not. It wasn't an immediate goal, so having this opportunity fall into my lap was just amazing. But being able to stand alongside these other authors is just so wonderful. I'm so grateful for this chance that Future House Publishing has given me. So I just recently started another Kickstarter to promote a new social media platform that I cooked up after watching an episode of the Philip DeFranco show. I'm working on a memoir. I'm working on a contemporary YA novel. And I'm also working on a high fantasy novel featuring jackalopes.